going to be a small warm-up and then something that will help you strengthen your core. So this will be for people who haven't really been using their core recently. So it starts from the inside out. It's really light to begin with, so that you can start to get in touch with how it feels to engage your core again, and give it a little bit of a workout. Okay, so we're going to do a little warm up first. We're going to just move the spine in each direction before we get going with the exercises. So take the hands down by your side, or you can rest them on top of your knees if you want to, and gently close the eyes, and then take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just return to your natural breath, just noticing how the body feels today, and just slowing down the rhythm of your heart. Gently flutter the eyes open, place the right hand on the floor, stretch the right hand up towards the ceiling as you inhale, and as you exhale, lean over to the right hand side. Turn your palm to face up towards the ceiling, and if your neck feels okay, then turn your gaze to look at the back of your hand. And come back up to the top. Left hand goes on the floor, right hand floats up towards the ceiling on an inhale, and as you exhale, lean towards the left hand side, feeling the stretch all the way down the left hand side of the body. And turn your palm to face the ceiling, and if your neck feels okay, turn your gaze to face towards the back of the hand. And come back up to the top. Right hand goes on the floor again, float the left one up towards the ceiling, lean towards the right hand side, and then this time let the arm fall in front of the face and come back to centre. Left hand goes on the floor, right hand floats up towards the ceiling, exhale, lean towards the left hand side, and this time let that arm release in front of the face as you come back to the centre. So we'll do that a couple more times. So float the hand up towards the ceiling, lean towards the right hand side, let the arm come in front of the face as you come back to centre. Float the right hand up into the air, lean towards the left hand side, let the arm come in front of the face and come back to centre. Okay, we're going to just turn towards the side now so that you can have your legs out on your mat, and we're going to just pull the toes towards you so you can feel the stretch down your hamstrings, and your quads will be slightly engaged. And this will make the forward bend that we're about to do slightly easier. Put your hands next to your pelvis and just float the head up towards the ceiling, feeling the space between each of your vertebrae as you raise your head, the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, take the arms up and over the head and think about drawing your shoulder blades down your back. And as you exhale, forward fold over the legs, and then you can grab the toes if you can reach them, hands on the shins if that feels more comfortable, or you can put them down the sides of your legs. And as you inhale, pull up out of the waist, and as you exhale, just try and bring the chin closer to your legs. You'll feel a really nice stretch down the back of the hamstring, and you're also then just bringing the spine into a forward motion here. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, draw the chin ever so slightly closer to the knees. And on the next inhale, take the arms up above the head, and then release the hands down to the floor. Now we're going to take the hands behind us, and your fingertips pointing away from you, and then really open up across the chest as you take the gaze just up to the ceiling. Don't drop the weight into your neck, Just protect the back of the neck by just taking your gaze up. Really open up across the shoulders, drawing those shoulder blades together. Imagine that they're about to have a kiss. And just breathe into this pose. And come back up to seated. And then we're going to go into our box position. So just swing the legs round, come up onto your hands and knees. You want your hands to be underneath your shoulders, and you want the hands to be evenly spread into the mat, and you want your middle finger to be facing forwards. And really just try and get the weight evenly distributed into your hands. You want your knees to be hip distance apart and underneath your pelvis. And then from here, we're just going to move through a couple of cat-cows. So as you inhale with your back parallel to the floor, and then exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine, and think about drawing your belly button back towards the spine. So the first time we're just thinking about the core here. And as you inhale, chin and seat comes towards the ceiling, and there's a slight dip in your lower back. Try not to just completely cave in here. You still want to have the core doing some work. And then as you exhale round the spine, tuck the chin in, drawing that belly button towards the back. And inhale, chin and seat towards the ceiling. Exhale round the spine, tuck the chin, drawing the belly button back towards the spine. And then inhale, come to neutral. Now from here, we're going to take the right hand, float it up into the air. As you inhale, exhale, thread it through the gap, bring your right cheek down to the floor, and we're just going to feel a gentle spinal twist here. And just breathe into this pose. You'll feel a nice stretch across the shoulder as well. And push into the left hand to bring yourself back up to the box position. And then on the in-breath, you're going to float the left hand up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, thread it through the gap. Bring your left cheek down to the mat and just feel the stretch and the gentle twist the other way. One of the most elegant poses in yoga. That. And just squeeze the weight into that right hand to bring you back up to box. And now from here, we'll do a bit more core work, and you want to really think about this lower back being nice and straight. So as soon as we start to dip into this lower back when we're doing these poses, that just means that the lower back is doing the work for you. Now you want the core to be doing the work. So as soon as you suck the belly button in towards the spine, and this is nice and flat, it then means that this core work is actually activating all of the muscles around here rather than the ones around your lower back. So I want you to think about that as we're doing the next sequence. So we'll start with floating the right hand up towards the ceiling, and the thumb is pointing towards the ceiling here. So you should now start to feel, because we've taken the balance, we've destabilised our balance slightly, this now starts to have to do some work. I'll take the jumper off so you can see. So starting in our box position, floating that hand up, and then just really thinking about drawing that belly button in towards the spine. And bring it back down. Now take the left hand away. And again, really thinking about drawing that belly button in, keeping the lower back nice and flat. And bring it back down. Now if that feels okay, if that feels good, then we can then take the right hand away again, thumb pointing up towards the ceiling, and you can take your left leg out and leave your toe onto the floor. And then this then means that the core has to do a bit more work. We've lengthened the levers, so they still really have to activate to keep you there. And then bring it back down. And then we can do the other side, so left hand comes up, right leg then pushes away, and the toe is still on the mat. And then again, because the levers are lengthened, the core has to do a bit more work. And bring it back down. So you can do that sequence with just the hands coming off the floor, or the hand and the opposite leg being pushed back. And when that starts to feel good, when you start to feel comfortable within that, you can then start to float the hand up, and you can push the foot back, and then when this feels good, you can then take the leg away from the floor. And if you push into the heel, that will activate the glute muscle. And again, think about drawing the belly button back towards the spine, so this part of the back is nice and straight. And then you really start to work the core. And come back down. Float the left hand up, push the right leg away, and when you feel good, you can then float the leg up into the air parallel to the mat, again pushing into the heel, activate that glute muscle, take some of the pressure for the lower back so that you don't then dip into it. And remember to breathe in these poses. So when we're holding poses, we tend to hold our breath as well. But we need that oxygen to be pumping around to the muscles. So remember to breathe and come back down. And then just gently sit back into child's pose. So toes touching, create some space for your womanly jump. And then just stretch the arms out in front of you, bringing the forehead to the mat and just having a nice stretch here. You can push the weight into your fingers, and that intensifies the stretch across the top of the shoulders and the back. And just breathe here. And if for any reason, if you can't push back your bottom all the way to your heels, just grab a pillow or a rolled up blanket and just place it in between there, and that will then just take the pressure off. You don't want to be hanging out at the top, you want to just be able to release down to the ground. And then from here, just bring the arms back towards the shoulders. And we're going to roll up to standing, so tuck the toes under. And then bring the hands back towards the feet. Push the pelvis up towards the air. Gently walk the hands up the legs, and then roll through each vertebrae, coming up to standing. Okay. And then another way to challenge the core is to do balancing poses. So once you've done your warm up and you've done your rounds on the floor, you can then come up to standing, and then you can choose various poses, but anything that destabilizes you is then going to mean that you need to activate your core to then keep yourself nice and stable. So classic yoga pose, tree pose. So if you then peel your toes off of the floor and push them back into the mat, you want to think about keeping your pelvis nice and parallel to the floor while you're doing this pose. And again, if you engage the core, so think about drawing that belly button back towards the spine while you're standing, that will help. So we're going to lift the right leg, sorry. So you can either choose to leave your toe on the ground, and we're going to be trying to point our knee out towards the right hand side. So this is enough to destabilize you, for you to need to use your core. You can then progress to bringing your foot up towards the ankle, and then maybe taking it higher towards the calf muscle. Avoid the knee altogether, that's a hinge joint, so we don't want to be pushing it left and right. And then one day you can then bring the leg all the way up to the thigh, in order to balance. And again, think about the pelvis being nice and parallel to the floor here. You can bring your arms to prayer, and sometimes fixing your gaze on a point in front of you on the floor or straight ahead of you can really help bring the focus. Draw that belly button in towards the spine so you'll feel your core starting to work. And then progressions within these poses, so you can take your hands above the head, and again you want to be thinking about creating space between your ears and your shoulders. Okay, you don't want to bring your shoulders up with the arms, you really want to think about drawing those shoulders down. And then within here you can start to play with your balance, so really challenging the core by waving the arms. And then the core then really has to work to keep you nice and stable. And to come out of the pose, bring your hands back down to prayer. Gently bring the knee out in front of you and then drop it to the floor. And you can just give your hips a little wiggle just to release any pressure. And then always do it on the other side. So whatever you've done on the first side, you want the symmetry to be the same on the other side. So bringing your feet together, peeling the toes off of the floor and pushing them into the mat, so feeling nice and grounded. Drawing that tailbone down towards the floor and engaging the core, so drawing the belly button in towards the spine. Picking now the left leg, so wherever you took it on the other side, so remember your options. You can leave your toe on the floor and bring your hands to prayer, or you can take it up to the ankle, you can go up to the calf, avoid the knee, or you can come all the way up towards the thigh. And then from here again, think about your gaze, so maybe fixing on a point on the floor or straight ahead of you. And then once you feel comfortable here, you can take the arms above the head, again drawing those shoulder blades down the back. And then if you feel comfortable at this point, you can then start to move the arms, challenging the balance even more. And all of this is working your core. It's working other muscles as well, but your core is really working here to keep you stable. And then bring the hands back down to prayer, drawing that knee to the front and just stepping the foot back down. Give the hips a little wiggle. And then that's a nice little core sequence for you to go through to repeat. And there's a few progressions within each stage there that you can pick. So you can decide how your body feels that day. Sometimes when you practice in the morning, you don't feel as strong. Sometimes when you practice in the evening, so you've got a few things there that you can then work through once your core starts to feel stronger. So hope you enjoyed, and see you soon. Bye.